The Oklahoma Sooners win. That's another win. One win closer to the playoffs. I think the biggest thing that I take away from this game is I need people to stop saying that the Oklahoma Sooners can't win without an offense, because this defense is just electric, and they do whatever they have to do in order to win the ball game. And yet another week, Chad and Tierney Smith here, along with myself, Josh Mahler. Guys, another big win for Oklahoma in a game that I kept on calling a trap game, not because Missouri is not a good team, but because Missouri is a team that is, overlooked by a lot of people in the college football landscape right now. But how was it there in the stadium today?
It was great.
Yeah, I think overall it's pretty good. I mean, definitely moments where, like, when the offense especially was on the field, when you're trying to get hyped and they're just giving you nothing to be excited about. But pretty consistently when the defense was out there, it was loud. They did what we didn't think they would do. They played many men.
They did. That was awesome.
Going to the fourth quarter.
That was pretty sweet.
And the video before was pretty sick. So that it would have been really hit if it was a night game. But man,
good job, Eddie. Eddie
pushed it. He did. He pushed it. I didn't think there was any chance. And the way they led into it was pretty sweet too. If it, like T said, if it was a night game, that would have been next level. Get my book out.
And it should have been. Like, what is up with college football trying to schedule games wrong? Like, I don't know. Like, I get that the Big Ten likes these noon kickoffs, but the rest of us big dogs don't like it. And I say us big dogs because Oklahoma is one of them, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, and like the thing with the Big 12, Big 10 that always bothered me was it's like we were always there because the big noon is their big, like that's their marquee game every week, which is why Oklahoma was always a noon kickoff. But like this one, I guess 2:30 is technically the SEC's prime time. But LSU
2:30 and 6:30.
You have Arkansas
and
in Texas at 2:30. But granted, this game has been set at 11 a.m. since the summer.
And LSU has 8 of their 8 home games set. 6 have been a night game. In their last 8 home games, 6 have been after 6:30. Like they can do it if they want to. They just choose not.
Well, and it's been 27 days, right? 27 days since Oklahoma has played in their home stadium, and finally getting a chance to come back, and they show out for the fans. It was a game where the offense was terrible, and ultimately, the first half felt like I lean on John Mateer. I hate calling players out and trying to blame players, but John Mateer was just not seeing the field. He just looked like he was blind in the first half.
Yeah, it looked.
When he saw it, the passes were like he just couldn't make them.
There's a lot to be. I think what's annoying is that you see so much of what our defense can do. Besides that first drive, they give up 54 yards on the first drive of rushing offense, and then they give up 16 more yards the rest of the game against the number 6 rushing offense in the country. Granted, didn't do their stats against conference opponents weren't as impressive as they were out of conference, but still an impressive run team. Ahmad Hardy, just one of the best running backs out there, and you hold them, and it just seems like you get no proportional production at all. And where I get frustrated about it goes back to what your expectation is on how you want the season to end. Because I don't think you have a shot in God's green earth of winning a national championship with our offense at all. Once you play in Ohio State, you play a team like that has NFL talent on the other side of the ball all across it, you're risking getting blown out if you can't score. And my worry is that you have finally one of BV's best defenses he's ever coached, and that includes Clemson. One of the deepest defenses he's ever coached, maybe the deepest in terms of what he has in terms of the 2, 3, even the 2s and 3s. And you look on offense, and it goes 5 straight punts, 6 straight punts, 5 straight 3 and outs.
You have the ball at midfield at least 3 times that game, and you don't go anywhere.
Well, see, so
and that's what's so frustrating for me.
I kind of want to stop you with that narrative, because I think that's the narrative that is going across the entire college football landscape, and I was part of that before the Tennessee game, but the Tennessee game, and then leading into the Alabama game, and now this game. I agree with you. Oklahoma's offense needs to get some sort of rhythm and at least just be consistent. But at the same time, if you're going to win games, I don't care how it comes. This defense is good enough where they're going to find ways to win games. And first of all, targeting on a horrific targeting call.
Ooh, terrible.
And then that was Owen Heineke, right?
Yeah,
that ended up coming out.
No, that was Reggie Powers.
Not Owen Heineke.
Reggie Powers.
That was Reggie Powers, wasn't it? So yeah, just that was horrible targeting call. The only reason that the helmet contact at all is because the impact causes him to kind of jars his head forward. Terrible call. I don't care who you are. And then there's a pass interference later on that on Jacoby Johnson. Terrible call. No holding.
Yeah, that was bad.
There was one holding call on Missouri. All right,
I think there was two.
The crowd went crazy.
There was two in the first half. Yeah, I noted it. I have it in my notes here.
I was too excited by the first holding call that I guess I must have completely missed the second one. But yeah, so two holding calls in one game. That's incredible. So Oklahoma's finally on the plus side of that. But it just felt like before that first one, I was just getting irritated because, again, I hate being this guy to sit there and call out for the refs, but they were just horrible the entire game. I just felt like they were horrible. And I do feel like on both sides they were missing calls, but especially when it comes down to this Oklahoma defensive line, it just frustrates the heck out of me to sit there and watch that interior bust through and find ways to disrupt the backfield, but it's held back because of a holding that doesn't get called. And then there's just silly penalties all over the field that seem like they just kept Missouri alive at times. But this defense just finds ways to keep themselves in the game and end up stopping them. There was a blocked field goal, a missed field goal, the interception there at the end of the game. It was just a masterpiece. And
man, I got to say, sorry, cut out there.
No, Eli Bowen, third interception of his career. So just love to see it for the young guy.
You could tell he really wanted to run that back, and everybody was yelling at him to get down. He's like,
yeah, just get down, just get down.
Don't risk it. Don't risk a fumble.
Dude,
get down.
I loved hearing Drinkowitz in the postgame. I don't know if anyone listening heard it, but he said basically BV just outcoached him on that third before the punt blocked field goal. They had a perfect play. He's like, we had a walk-in touchdown if they don't call a timeout there. He goes, we literally set it up. We had faked it. We tricked them out like we wanted to in their alignment. They were done. And BV sees it. And before we can get the snap off, he calls timeout. And I was just sitting there screaming. And he's like, we had shown too much of the play, and they came back out, and they were perfect alignment, and we would have gone. And so we sent our field goal team out. And he's like, so yeah, I mean, and then you just get it blocked. But he's like, it was frustrating, but it's just good coaching on their part. I was like, man, that's so awesome. I'm happy for him.
Myself as a fan, honestly, I always say I didn't play the sport. To me, I'm like, it looked the same to me, and I'm sure it wasn't. It was. Like, oh, but did we?
I forget. Was Reggie Power's targeting call? Was that in the second half? I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
So he's out of the first half. Yeah, that is even more frustrating now. And yeah, I don't care if we want to try to make the rule a little bit more strict and call maybe like a flagrant 1, flagrant 2 targeting. But the fact that you kick him out for 2 full quarters just makes that call even worse. But yeah, I really hate it. But anyways, I mean, so. Again, going back to it, I mean, you can't look at the narrative of Oklahoma football and look at the stats. I mean, I can't stand the narrative anymore. The narrative that I once pushed, so I'm not going to exclude myself.
Well,
that Oklahoma can't win games this way.
Well, I don't think you can't win championships this way. I don't think it's a championship team right now. I just don't.
Why can't they?
Because I think
they're unrelenting.
Yeah, but when you play teams that have like Ohio State has as good of a defense as we do, and they're also offense.
Do they though?
Their offense is 3 times better. I mean, our offense is bad.
Their offense is good, but
no, our offense is bad. Our offense has
Ohio State's
to make you worry.
Is Ohio State's offense better than Alabama's? Are they better than Tennessee's?
Yeah. I would say they have better. They have better players at every position than both those teams. Besides maybe quarterback at Alabama.
Theoretically, maybe. But who have they played?
But Jeremiah Smith's better than Cam Coleman is, and we saw what he did with us. I mean, they have 2 of them.
So Jeremiah Smith is an outstanding wide receiver. Carnell Tate is an outstanding wide receiver.
And they are they better
than Ryan Williams and Jeremy Bernard?
Yeah, I would say that.
I'm not willing to concede that point.
And the problem is this:
Oklahoma's defense can stand up to them.
But listen, I hope I'm wrong. Obviously, I would love to be wrong. I have no faith we're going to win it. Even I'm worried we'll beat Notre Dame. We're so bad offensively, man.
We're worried about the defense, but it's just like if the defense, heaven forbid, gives up 2 touchdowns and a field goal, gives up 17. Do I have faith that our offense is going to score?
I just look 18? At it. Iowa's done won national championships for a reason. They were one of the best defenses every year in the country. I think we're the best defense in the country. I think our defense is better than Ohio State's. I think it's the best in the country. I think we have 0 chance to win a natty, and it's just we don't put any pressure on anybody. And that's what I think is like. It's like
I don't think
it's
it's
like
a
what's your
national championship
expectation for
game.
me? Is like my expectation is to win national championships this year. So if it's just to make the playoff and to win a game, and I'm only finishing, Josh. I'll let you go. It's for people
No,
who
you're
it's
fine.
hard it's hard because I get a delay. And I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're fine.
And I'd love to hear your thoughts on it too. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just my opinion on it. It's like the expectation is to just make the playoff and maybe win a game. 100%, I agree with you. They can do that. They are good enough in that respect. My expectation is, can you beat Ohio State on the road or in a neutral site? Can you beat again, I don't even know how good Indiana is, but maybe, again, Ohio State's the one you got to beat, especially if we're going to stay, the bracket stays like it is. I don't think they're good enough to beat Ohio State with the offense we have. We're just not. You need to be elite like that on both sides of the ball to beat a team that's that. And I'm giving Ohio State the benefit of the doubt because they've never given me a reason not to. I said last year they only played one team, Oregon, and they lost to them. Look what happened. And look, they won the Natty. They blitzed everyone. And I got to assume there's giving me no reason not to think they won't do that again. At least they've done it every year they've been in it. And that's my only thing. Like if it's just to beat Notre Dame and maybe win a couple games, then sure. But to win a national championship, which I think this team is 2 out of 3 phases good enough to do, we got to be much better on offense.
I have to keep my opinions down low anyways because I'm in a house down in Florida full of Ohio State fans. But
well, that's fair.
but realistically though, I think Ohio State's a great team. I think they're deserving of that number 1 spot. Handled business today against Rutgers, but I don't see any.
Sorry.
Exactly. I don't see anything from Ohio State that makes me feel like they could blow out an Alabama or even just blow out a Tennessee. I don't like the narrative that Ohio State's dominant. There's nobody. They're the clear cut number 1 team in the nation because Indiana, on paper, Indiana has done more than Ohio State. They went on the road. I know Penn State is nothing, but they went on the road to Penn State and to Oregon, 2 tough places to win. That's what I'm saying. Because I don't think anybody can sit here and argue that even Penn State on the down year is not a tough place to win. But I think that says more than what Ohio State has done. Now they have a chance to respond to me next week when they go on the road to the Big House. And if Ohio State wins that game, I'm completely silent on that note. I just think to this point, I can't say that Ohio State is really better than I'm saying offensively at least that they're really better than an Alabama or a Tennessee. And I think Oklahoma's defense stood up very, very well against some very tough offenses. And I think Missouri's attack, Bo Pribula played a really good game, a really solid game, better than I would have expected him to play.
Yeah, he
coming
did.
off of that injury. And Oklahoma still found a way just to shut him down, and with very short notice too. And so I am way more impressed with this defense, specifically in these last 3 games now, than I was earlier on in the season. Early on in the season, I just kind of looked at it and said, yeah, but they really should have performed better against Auburn, in my opinion. They really should have. They shouldn't have let up the 75-yard touchdown against Michigan. When Justice Haynes broke free for a 75-yard touchdown. So there was a lot of things that I said, yeah, the defense was really good, and I'm happy for them for performing this way. But the way that they have performed on the road in tough environments, and then now closing this up against an extremely good, an extremely underrated Missouri offense. And I know that the stats will show that Missouri pretty much had their way, but that's just not the case because this defense finds ways to win the turnover battle and to come up with those turnovers when it matters the most. And they play the perfect bend but don't break method. And that's kind of what I was explaining to somebody on social media earlier today.
My worry is just – go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was just – my thing is well, my thing with that, again, if it's just to – they're good enough to beat LSU. They should beat LSU next week. LSU's banged up. They have nothing to play for. I don't think the guys that play for them are very well, knock on wood. I think they'll beat them. My issue is when you play another Ole Miss that can score on you and break you down, and your defense can't just get off the field and play perfect defense and bend but don't break, and they give up touchdowns. We have just no option. We have no threat or any ability to score consistent touchdowns on any team that is not a Temple. And for me, it's worrisome in that as good as we were defensively, you start the first quarter and you have negative yards. Like you would have been literally better off just not even playing offense the first quarter in terms of yards gained. And I just don't want it to be, and I think where a lot of people are is as long as you just win the turnover battle, you will win games. And that's true to an extent whenever you are better athletically across the board than a lot of the teams you're going to face. But like A&M, for example, they're very, very good offensively. And when you have a quarterback like Marcel Reed that can not only beat you with his arm, but whenever you do have a busted play, he's fast enough to get away from our D-line, fast enough to get away from our linebackers. And you have to actually answer production with production. We've yet to show we could do that really without our defense giving us all the breaks in the world. And they continue to do that, hopefully. I'm just such someone who thinks that great defenses are always complemented by good offenses. You look even at the 2021 Georgia team; they were dropping 40 on people all the time, especially in the playoff.
I agree with you,
to have a game where like we're going to be a 2000 Ravens where we're going to win a natty 12 or 13-2 again. It's just not going to happen.
I think, agree with you, but the reason why I look at this Oklahoma team just a little bit different, and I'm kind of just like content with what the offense does because they're not lights out. They're not good. They're all right. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, oh, they're good, Chad. Just lighten up on them. Because the reason why I look at it is because I grew up in a household that we lived on basically like the 90s and 2000s type of football where you just lean on that defense. You don't like the offenses didn't score anything. And that's how these games turn out for Oklahoma, that even when the offense scores, the defense finds ways to turn it around. And on top of that, this offense just finds, again, the reason why I have such faith in this Oklahoma team now is because they just find ways to win on offense. They're resilient. They find ways that when you're down and you're just out bad, you find Isaiah Satania running across the field and he takes off for, 87-yard touchdown or something.
That boy's fast.
So, I mean, you just find ways. And the biggest concern that I have for Oklahoma is just really it leans back on more on the coaching side of things, where I feel like every game that Oklahoma loses, I say, why did we not get any running back into more of a rhythm? And again, it felt like that in this game where Xavier Robinson, and I kind of understand it in this game because our running backs are banged up, and for some reason we kind of kept that hidden and didn't really. We never had them on the availability report or anything like that. But you never gave any running back a chance to get in some sort of rhythm. First downs. How many first downs were there that was just a passing play that shouldn't have been a passing play, or a 3rd and short, or even just when you're on the opposing side of the field and 4th and 2 a couple of times during this game? Why are you not trying to get a little bit gutsy and a little bit risky and just go for it? I think there's just certain things about this offense that a lot of it comes down to. It comes down to coaching for me. And that's the part, I mean, that concerns me more than if it was just player ability, because I think coaches can fix player ability, but player ability can't really fix coaching ability.
I think where my frustrations lie, though, is we had the ball around midfield like 3 different times that second half and got nothing. Like you didn't even get
intentional grounding that didn't get called.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't even get close.
Dude, I was worried about that. I guess they said he's outside the tackle box.
But again, these refs suck. All right.
Oh my gosh!
I'm going to go both ways. They suck.
Yeah, you're 100% right. No, I'm going to get on a tangent. Go ahead. Sorry,
I'm skipping on. I said the fact that you couldn't even get into field goal range, where you have a kicker who can make 55-yarders. Yeah, to me that's unacceptable.
Well, that's
where my
kind of wish they would have.
I'm so
tried there in that really long one. It would have been like 62 yards or something, but I kind of wanted them to try it.
Yeah, just let him whatever. I think they don't want to break his streak, which is at 22 now, by the way. Awesome. Eli Drinkowitz, 0-7 against top 25 teams on the road the past 2 years. Oh, wait, that's just SEC opponents, my bad. Top 0-7 against top 25 SEC opponents last 2 years.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Overrated.
I forgot what I was about to say on the what point were you making just now, T?
The fact that we got it at midfield 3 times and we didn't even get close enough to get a field goal.
What also is frustrating and I think bodes not well in the future is luckily you kind of run it back with the time of possession sort of equaled out. It still favored Missouri, but you've got to find ways, especially when you play these higher octane offenses, that keeps them off the field. You can't give Ohio State, you can't give A&M 25 more snaps than you. Maybe, and listen, if they ended up being the greatest defense to ever play college football, then we can win the national championship playing like we're playing. I just don't think that's going to happen. I don't think Georgia's defense was good enough to do that. That's why they had to have the offense they had to have in many of those games. To get to the playoff, yes. And I don't, did someone call me boomers? Yeah, said Doubting Thomas. Look, Doubting Thomas was a faithful man. That's fine. That's fine. He wanted proof before he believed. It's okay. Wanted to see the wounds. It's not a problem.
But here's the thing, Chad. I understand what you're saying. This is Oklahoma, so you expect championships, and I applaud you for having that faith. I never had that expectation for Oklahoma. I didn't even have making the playoffs as an expectation this year. I had win 8 or 9 games and let's move forward, because this is the first year for this offensive staff, for this offensive scheme, for a lot of these players on offense. It's the first year. Let's get some momentum and play the long game. I would love to win a national championship this year, and I would love to see that from this team. And I want to have that kind of faith to look forward for that this year. But I'm not sitting here and putting my expectations in it. Rather, I want to get to the playoffs. I want more than anything to host a playoff game and win that first round.
Yes.
I don't know what the score is right now, but if USC could knock off Oregon, kind of help Oklahoma out there, and then USC get up there to rank number 10, Oklahoma rank number 7, host USC in Norman, bring Lincoln Riley back to Norman for that first round playoff game, that would be pretty sweet. But that's kind of my expectations. Now, would I hope for a national championship if we made it to the playoffs? Yeah. Would I be disappointed if they didn't win it? Yeah. But I'm not going to put my expectations there just yet. I'm playing the long game.
Yeah. No. Same expectation as that. I totally agree with you. Then they can play like they're playing. That's fine. I just think it's rare to be that good in 2 phases of the game, and I hate to just waste it and not.
It's frustrating
because they're just because it's like they're so close to just being. If you were just consistent, then you would be a national championship threat. Like, you would legitimately be a team that could beat any team in the country. And
if it was an offense like we saw against Missouri, or sorry, against Michigan, then yeah, that's Absolutely what we have to get back to. But again, for some reason, they just don't want to lean. They don't want to lean on John Mateer running the ball. And I don't understand it, because he's being way smarter. Have you seen how many times he gets down and just plays smarter? He gets down and doesn't.
He slid today.
Yeah,
he mentioned it sliding today. At least I think it was in one of the runs.
He slid a couple of times. He fell down, gave himself up, and I like it. So I actually think if the running game isn't there, utilize him. Let him go free. Real quick before we move forward, for everybody watching, if you're watching anywhere other than YouTube, jump over to the YouTube channel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and also you can become a member for as low as $2.99 a month. It helps us grow over here on Oklahoma at the Voice of College Football. We give you guys content on Sundays, Mondays with Sooner Spits, on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and then post-game Saturdays. 5 days of content that we're trying to push out for you guys. So liking, subscribing, that's the free and easy way to help us keep on growing. But if you want to help a little bit further, you can become a member for as low as $2.99 a month. But Chad, I just think that the expectation just can't be too high for Oklahoma this season. I think you just have to play the long game and work your momentum, because the recruiting is turning out to be phenomenal for Oklahoma right now, way better than anyone anticipated. And it's because of these big wins. It's because of being able to make it to the playoffs, not necessarily winning a national championship with really a fresh team right now, too.
Hey, and this obviously the Missouri, this is how good the defense is playing. The Missouri rush defense, 240 rushing offense, 241 yards average, I believe I heard, this season, 6th in the country. They started with 61 yards of rushing in the first quarter, which you're thinking, that doesn't bode well. They go 9 yards in the second quarter, 9 yards in the third, then -9 in the fourth. They had 9 net yards of rushing the rest of the game after the first quarter. So when they lock down, especially whenever they get it kind of figured out, Heineke played great again. I mean, Kendall Daniels should have had an interception, but still, I mean,
Kendall Daniels, man, like he's
awesome.
A hard hitter, man.
Dude, he's so big.
He goes in with such violence. Yeah. That's the 90s football that I love it. That's traditional.
Yeah. I'm trying to go to some advanced stats here to see where they're at on Sack adjusted yards.
And I apologize
to 6 on full on big plays, which is nice. I mean, we usually don't.
Yeah, I screwed up too on the graphic. The rushing yards is totally wrong. We held Missouri to 70 rushing yards. Oklahoma had 103. I don't know how I screwed that up, but we'll just ignore that graphic.
I didn't even notice it.
But no, yeah, I mean it really was, and I just happened to look over and notice that too. Just totally wrong. But no, it was a defense. Again, the reason why this defense bodes so well is because their rush defense is good without trying. There wasn't a whole lot that Oklahoma loaded the box and had 6 in the box, because typically what you do, like what I was expecting on the 3rd and shorts, 3rd and mediums, even sometimes when in the 3rd and really long, like there was once where it was like a 3rd and 22, is you put 5 or you put 6 up in the box and just get to the quarterback, or in the 3rd and short, you put the 6 in the box to make sure to stop the run, and then you put your 5 a little deeper to make sure nothing gets behind you. And that's typically what Brent Venables does really well. They only put like 5 in the box a lot of the time. And they did a really good job of just shutting down the run without having to really try to shut down the run against a team that is phenomenal at running the ball.
They're just solid. I was saying it earlier. It's like any team that really has to run that is just run centric. I don't believe they're really going to have much success on our defense, especially once they figure it out.
Hardy was averaging 3.6 yards a carry, and we got him at 3.4 this game. So literally
6.8.
6.8. I said 4, didn't I?
Yeah, no, you said 3.6. He was averaging 6.8 yards.
Pregnancy brain. He's averaging 6.8 yards, and then we held him this game to averaging 3.4, which is still, I mean,
total.
T actually made the graphic for us earlier. It was a pregnancy brain. She just
yeah, absolutely. And like, he averages easily over 100 yards a game, and he's got 57 this one. And I think most of those came in that first drive.
Well, and you know what, Chad? To your point, this team could win a national championship playing just like this. If you win by not allowing the other team to score a touchdown, you can win a national championship.
I think it's just more so the fear of, like, you're calling on them to play perfect. You're calling on them to have turnovers, and that is, like, to me, an insane amount. Like, that's an unrealistic pressure to put on them. They've done it in all these big games, but it's just, is that sustainable overall? You
would consider Alabama a national championship contender because they put up points and they have a good offense, and the defense is good enough to complement the offense, and that's typically what a good national championship contending team is. But this Oklahoma team is just built different. Name one other team that is as good as Oklahoma that does it the way Oklahoma does. The reason why I think it looks so bad in your eyes, Chad, is because Oklahoma just doesn't look the same as everybody else. Oklahoma does it. They're
just bad on offense. They're just bad on offense. And again, I don't think Mizzou is a good offensive team. I don't think they're very good. I don't think they're nearly as good as people thought they were. Like, they had 6 straight home games. They played really bad out of conference schedules. They beat up on a lot of bad teams. And they played the 3 away games they played in. They've been half of the production they've had at home. I'm not one of those. I wasn't expecting the game to be this close. I think a national championship caliber team beats this team 35-41-6. I think Ohio State beats Missouri by 40. Not
if that national championship team is Oklahoma.
No, but that's why I'm saying we're not. Like, I think we are far away from being a team that can compete for a national title. I think Ohio State would beat us fairly badly. I agree with you.
That Oklahoma is not going to win the national championship this year. But I also think that you're underestimating what Missouri is, because they held it within 3 points to Alabama. They held it within a touchdown of Vanderbilt. Really they handled business against South Carolina. They beat a decent Kansas team on the road, or I guess that
Kansas is terrible, Josh, and you know that. Don't say decent to help you. No, Kansas is not good, and we both know that.
This is just as good of a Kansas team that beat Oklahoma in the past.
Well, they weren't good either, and that was a bad loss, even when we lost to them. Kansas is not good.
With Bo coming back,
I don't think
that Bo is the same Bo as that played earlier either.
Hey, by the way, just a side note, how impressive was Bo to get back and actually? I thought he would look like he was walking on one leg. He was actually looking pretty quick.
I apologize.
I don't know what it looked like on TV.
I apologize too. I was thinking Kansas was 7-5 for some reason, but they're 5-6. So yeah, never mind. Mark.
No, you're fine.
They are as good as maybe. I guess they're better than when they beat Texas a few years back, back in 2022. So hey,
Always
we'll
gonna
give
be great.
them that.
But hey, what are your thoughts?
At that point in the season, I thought they were good.
My thing is, I would
Fair
just
enough,
love to see 3 offensive touchdowns. Like,
Yeah.
we score on the very first drive of the first half, and we're moving. We're like, okay, we think we got something. We scored. We're owning the middle 8, so to say. And then it's just like we punt every single play after that. Like, and some of those you were, like I said, you were at midfield. And
there was only 2
that's where I'm like,
from the offense today. But again, that's why I say, like, it doesn't feel like Oklahoma, because the offense isn't good. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Oklahoma's offense is good. But this is just a team that in today's college football, you're not used to seeing teams win this way, because nobody wins this way. But you know what? Usually sets trends like this is a team that wins this way, gets hot in the right moment, goes off and wins a national championship, and everybody's like, how are they winning these games? How are they winning these tough big games? And then they start to adjust, and it's cyclical. College football does this nonstop, where it's teams run the wishbone and everybody starts to follow that. Teams go away from the wishbone and start to follow that. Teams go air raid and they start to follow that. And they start to lean away from the defense. Teams are starting to go back towards the defense, because Oklahoma is not one of the leaders in this movement, but teams are starting to go back towards, hey, we need a more aggressive defense to try to hold teams under 20. And that's kind of the movement that we're getting in. And I think Oklahoma has leaped out in front in that regard. I'm not saying that Oklahoma's a national championship contender.
For me too,
I'm just saying don't be hard on them to say that they can't beat.
No, it's fair.
For me too, like, I see that we have the pieces. That's what, to me, was fresh. Last year, we didn't even have the pieces. Like, you can't do the puzzle because you don't have the pieces, period. Like, we have the pieces, but, like, why can't we put together the puzzle? Because I think that's where my frustration is. Yes, we're winning games this way, but we have the pieces to not have to win this way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree with you. And like, again, a lot of that falls back on
O-line I was worried about, but, like, these young guys, they're killing it on the O-line. Like, they're, for the most part, they're giving Mateer time. But it's just like the decision making is not there, or like the play calling was weird. Like on a 3rd and 2, you just decide to take a deep shot. Like, I don't know. Like that's just where like my frustrations are, because you have the pieces, you have the playmakers offensively, but why is it's just not coming together? And I know we are playing tough defenses, sure, but it's not like the defenses are forcing us to do anything. You know what I mean? It's not like they're forcing us to do. I don't know. It's just what I'm seeing is just like we're just not executing it. Like we have it there, and Mateer's like missing it. Like, or I don't know. It's weird to me.
The first half, I think I blame Mateer more than anything. But when I blame Mateer, a lot of that I also blame the coaching staff because of Mateer not seeing anything. He's not seeing the field clearly at all. There was one drive where Jaren Kanak wide open, right in the middle of the field in front of John Mateer, and he doesn't throw it to him, throws it over into triple coverage. I think it was to Deion Burks or Isaiah Satania trying to squeeze it in there. Lucky that it didn't get intercepted. And then on 3rd and long, he goes to Jaren Kanak now.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep. He wasn't deep enough. And so a lot of it comes down to that kind of stuff, but it also comes down to why are we passing the ball on first and 10 when we need to run the ball to get ourselves ahead? And instead, I feel like we're running up the ball in 2nd and 10. He was most of the time.
He was averaging 3.5 yards like the whole game. Like you give him the ball 3 times. That's a first down every time.
And I'll take that every play.
And maybe he was a little more beat up than like they were letting on, but at the same time, like I don't think so, because the blocks that he was getting from Mateer to me show me that he was in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the shuffle pass too. There was that one. There was another play later on where it was like Xavier Robinson got hit at the line, still ends up picking up either the first down or just before the first down, something. Yeah. There were several plays where I think he wasn't as injured as I think the narrative was, but he was never
I
on
think
the
you're right.
availability report either. So that's
that was.
I think that's well. I think you're right. I was going to ask you. I think that he was definitely hurt. I just don't think it was as the whole like Kendall. Oh my gosh, I just blanked on his name. The guy Dolby, like level of dislocation of ankle. Again, incredible that he can. He looked quick. Like he looked. Oh, my bad. I was doing the stats over here to see some. Sorry. But even for Beulah, my bad. I want to ask you what you thght about his kind of game. Right. He looked. I mean,
but apparently he didn't.
I think he looked 100%.
Apparently, according
not
to
100%, 90%.
What were you saying?
Yeah, according to Maggie, there was like no ligament damage. There was no breaks. It was literally a pop the ankle back in and just get it stronger, and he was fine. So
Yeah, I think his was also like maybe an over exaggeration, and I'm not sure if some of that was to try to throw teams off the path because they didn't need Prbula to beat Mississippi State. They could lean on Ahmad Hardy to run for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, so they didn't need him there. But I do think Prbula. I think he performed extremely well, and so well that I'm wondering if Dr. Shin also does ankle surgeries too, and like helped him.
He was at the game. That was awesome.
he's
actually an ankle specialist, but he just happened to work on John Mateer's hand, and that's why John Mateer's not bouncing back to 100% anymore.
I will say, if I was Ben Arbuckle, I would just call the touchdown play to Satania every play.
Why not?
I just like that play call. Yeah, I think that's a good one.
Hey, my player of the week, I don't know how you go outside of Satania. I think he had 3 receptions for over 100 yards.
3 receptions, 106 yards, and he's averaging 36 a catch, it looks like. 30.
Yeah, I mean, mainly all because of that one big touchdown, but that was all him. He came across that field just flying, and he got open. John Mateer found him, obviously, so you got to give him some
right
credit
after missing him the play before, I think, right? Like
exactly,
he short-armed
it
right in the field.
Yeah, he short-armed it, and it was kind of behind him. I don't know. Which if we gave him the player of the week, then that would be his second of the season. That I think.
And when Satania caught that 15, their safety takes an angle that Euclid would be excited about. It was founder geometry, by the way, for those who don't get the reference.
Yeah,
it was. I don't know how to do geometry, but I remember the name because it's such a unique one. You would know that, because you're a math guy. And Satania's just so fast, dude. It's just unbelievable. And he didn't even get close to catching him. But and again, I hate being negative after we have a big. At the end of the day, you won. And I would love no more than to say I'm wrong. We won. We did everything that I said we can do.
Is the offense holding back a lot too?
That's what. It's again, but it's like what. You don't really have much room to be holding back. You got to win these games.
No, so I think that I'm not saying that they're holding back the full game or anything, because I think the first quarter, for example, there's a lot that kind of goes against them. But there's holding calls on Oklahoma that just frustrate me. Like, why are you calling holding on that? Because like there's times where your hand gets caught up with a guy when he spins around, and that's the kind of stuff that I'm okay with you like letting go. Even on Oklahoma, I'm like, I don't know if that should be called holding, that people complain about holding. So there's certain things, or if your arm gets caught in an awkward position where your arm is on the outside and you pull it down to hurry up and like make sure like, hey, I'm not holding him. That kind of stuff shouldn't get called holding. And that's the kind of stuff that gets called on Oklahoma all the time. But then a guy at the back of a player's jersey gets stretched backwards. I think it was Grayson Halton. It might have been Jaden Jackson. Somebody had that where it was like the back of their jersey was getting stretched, and he still made the tackle for a loss. And I'm like, still no holding on that. That's I don't know. It's just it's really infuriating. I hate talking about it every week too, but it's just there.
I think Stacey brings up hold back. Yes, Josh, I think they do hold back sometimes. Talking about the offense, I think after a ton of interceptions, and this goes back further than I think most people would realize. Only because BV brings it up sometimes when talking about the offense and their struggles and whatnot. He always mentions, like, first and foremost, and I bring up a lot of what he said at the Tennessee going out of the second half into Tennessee. He looked at the offense and just said, offense, don't turn the ball over. We're going to be fine. It wasn't an offense, go out and get a touchdown, go out and – like the messaging is important. And you talk about a lot – or he'll talk about a lot in his post-game pressers. You mentioned it this week again. Back at most of BV's losses the first year he was here, and then also last year, the amount of turnovers we had. You go back to the bowl game against Arizona, you have 6 turnovers. 6. You go back to the bowl game, even with Florida State, you have turnovers. The loss to Kansas, the loss to Oklahoma State, you have 6 turnovers combined in those 2 games.
That reminds me.
It's so instilled in him that when we turn the ball over, we lose. And again, to Josh, the point you're making, and to a lot of people's point on our defense, you win the turnover battle again today. I think we're 18-0 under Brent Venables now when we win the turnover battle. I know we were 16-0 at one point, and I think we've won 2 of the – maybe we're 19-0 now. We're 18 or 19-0 in his career when we win the turnover battle. And that's in conference, out of conference, doesn't matter. So I think he's just so ingrained in, like, offense, just don't kill our defense out there. And we're good enough to just give y'all short fields and get their defense out on the field enough that, hopefully you can have some breakaway points or, breakaway game or scores.
You mentioned Ben Arbuckle. I think in his press conference, he made that comment basically saying like, oh, but they didn't turn over the ball and that's all you can ask for them to win. It's like, why is that? Like, I mean, yes, great. Like, don't turn it over. But like, I don't like that mindset. Because again, like if I was thinking about not making a mistake, I was going to make a mistake or I just wasn't going to be aggressive and I wasn't going to get what I wanted to do. Like, so I think if you're putting that on these players and you're putting on a quarterback, like just don't mess it up, then you're not going to play free. I don't know. That's just where I'm at.
My main point is to that, and it's kind of what Stacey brought up too. It's just like at the beginning of the year, they were very risky a lot of the times, and Oklahoma was losing in the turnover battle. They were losing like terribly in the turnover battle, turning it over 3 times a game, but they would just find a way to bounce back. And it was like, hey, that's okay. We can overlook it when the offense is doing this. But now I think they say, wait, guys, if we didn't do those turnovers, we could still win the same ways. And just let's just be a little bit more conservative. And I think a lot of that, to your point, Chad, I think a lot of that gets in John Mateer's head where he sees a guy and he hesitates. That's the stuff that you need to coach out of him.
Right.
But the rest of it all around, I just feel like it really does feel like Oklahoma tries to hold back. And because of them holding back, it kind of limits the offense in some regard. A big part of that falls on John Mateer. I think that's a big part of it.
I want to just shout out Peyton Bowen. He's shown out the last few games. He's played
Eli. Both
and Eli Bowen. Both another great day for the Bowen brothers. A blocked field goal attempt and an interception in the game.
Intercepted.
I'm not an Oklahoma football historian, but I know the Latrell brothers played here together. I'm not sure another player that did, but it's got to be the best brother combo. That
Selman brothers.
Well, besides that, yeah, that's true. The Selman brothers have to be the best. Bowens
you never know
up there.
The Jandro brothers might come in and take over the show. You never know. The Sawchuk brothers weren't able to live up to the hype because Gavin took off on us. But
there was I will say I don't like the 3rd and 2 throwing it deep to Satania. What's frustrating though is like it did hit him in the hands. Like I would love for him to catch that pass.
Yeah.
But also I don't love the X-Rob goes out because he's injured. You have Torrey Blaylock come in, line up in the slot on the short side of the field, not even in the backfield, and it's just a fade route or a corner route, but luckily you get lucky by the Jacoby Johnson touch or interception, which showed you, I think, why you got by him. Like last year when we were just searching for a receiver, we were like, well, try Jacoby out there because obviously he can catch the ball and make plays with it. But there were, again, you can't say enough good things about the defense. I think I would love for them to just see that same, and I know they're trying on the other side of the offense.
Apparently, David Stone was a monster without vision.
Oh yeah, let's mention that. David Stone said he was like
goggles.
And now he has goggles. And he's like, yeah, I can see. I'm like, he's probably like, yeah, the grass has there's blades of grass. It's not just a green blur. Like
he wanted to see them fools that were talking too much. That's what it was.
Just absolutely insane.
Zion,
man.
I was listening to some post-game interviews, and one was the David Stone one, and he mentioned that I couldn't see, and now I can, which is a scary thought for offenses. And then the other one was Grayson Halton, who was at the coin flip, and Zion Young, for those who don't know, obviously a great player from Missouri, number 9, looks like an absolute alien out there. He is the one that also goes viral for all the trash talk he did going into the overtime. Josh, you might remember the exact game. I can't recall, but it was going into overtime. One of these recent games, and he's just he's a talker. He's a talker, but he's like kind of their Kip Lewis guy. He's very energetic and tries to get him up. But during the coin flip, they asked Grayson Halton what he said to him because they kind of started getting chippy at each other. And Grayson Halton just looked at him and said, "Man, you got humble. You're going to be humble today." Just kept it quiet with him, and they started just talking back and forth. Which goes to, I get so annoyed at refs not being able to read the moment. I get that, like that bullcrap, unsportsmanlike they called. I guess it was actually on. They said 34, but I think they changed it to Danny Okoye, number 16.
Yeah, well, and the replay.
I get you don't want people in their face cussing and do something that's going to create a fight, but you saw him get chippy.
He didn't get in his face. You could see him yapping back there, but he was standing straight up, and the guy was still on the ground. There was no reason for a penalty to be thrown about that.
Every time a player gets
that's a sideline warning at the worst. That's a sideline warning at the worst. It's just I don't know what it is. I feel like the refs just all season long, and it's not just the Oklahoma game. I feel like the officiating, specifically in the SEC, just scouts the team, finds like the most dominating force on one team or the other and just tries to call against them. That's what it feels like, because I don't know. I feel like Oklahoma, it's always against their defensive line. And it's
You're
just,
100%
it's
right.
And it was
pathetic.
frustrating too. Like we got a big stop, and I think it was still the second half. And our players were celebrating together. Like they weren't anybody's face. They weren't over any like Missouri players. Like they were celebrating together. And the refs like, go, get away. Like go. It's like,
Yeah.
what? Like should they golf clap and move on? Like what are we wanting?
What is
Yeah.
so? What did you hear anything about Foje? I saw Derek Simmons came in. I didn't know if it was just he came in just because.
He came in last week too, real briefly, but I never heard
Simmons
anything about
played
OJ.
Simmons played like the last 3 quarters full or something like that. I mean, it was pretty quick. I don't know if he got rolled up or they were just trying. I do know some.
It might have just been kind of like management there, just kind of, hey, let's try to manage and not give him the full game because he is trying to bounce back from his injury. I can ask about it though.
I know that Ozad is suffering from I'll just say a head injury with his head that he suffered this week in practice. So he'll be out for probably the next 2 weeks. I know that they're looking at Foje at left tackle or at right guard and moving Fabechi over to left guard. And which I don't know because they have EPL, but he was, I think, for like second string if something happens to EPL or whatever. But it was him. It was Simmons and Foje on right, and then Fabechi and Fasusi on the left side, just to have options if something happened to one of the guys, to get some movement. But that's kind of just an update there on the offensive line. I think overall, end of the day, you win games, you win them, and you try to. And it's hard to win in the SEC. And for whatever reason, Oklahoma. And also, I don't want to overlook Tate Sandell 45-yard field goal. It looked like a chip shot. I don't want to ever get used to that being a thing because there's teams every week that are missing 35-yarders and not even close. And Oklahoma has a guy that looks like it's shooting out of a legit robot or cannon's kicking it. So just always want to give credit there for our kickers.
Well,
it's
and I think Evan's right. He's going to scold you, Chad. Like you're bringing down the psyche of these Oklahoma players. The offense is moving the ball, and they're doing what they need to do. No, I mean,
I guess first of all, we're not seeing where they're moving the ball. Like I saw us get midfield 3 times, and we didn't move, except with the one drive to start the third. We did not move the ball. Like we very literally
the entire time too. I think our biggest frustration is not even necessarily with the players. I called out John Batir because he's not seeing the field properly. But ultimately, I think there's a fine line between criticism and what's the word I'm looking for?
Ridicule, criticism and just being
negativity.
Well, there was negativity and criticism. My comments like, "This is the worst offense I've ever seen." I'm like, were you even here last year? I mean, come on now, like. You can be angry, but let's not get crazy.
This offense is just, like I said, it's just good enough. And you do wish that it would get a little bit better, but I do kind of question: do they start to let loose a little bit if they make it to the playoffs? Like, hey, we're playing with house money. Let's go see what we can do.
Yeah.
And you just start to kind of let it loose a little bit more than you are currently.
Like I said,
but ultimately,
we have the puzzle pieces. Like it's the pieces are there. We have the players. We have people who can make the plays. Just for whatever reason, it's still not clicking.
And you can't,
even though you see moments of it, you're like, heck yeah, like that was beautiful. Like why don't do that? Like why can't we do that consistently?
You can't rely on the turnovers from the defense. You can't rely on it. And I talked with Chris Phillips the other day about that. You can't rely on the defense to get turnovers to win you games. But what you can do as a defense is play aggressively to get the turnovers. And when you get them, they help even more. And so what that means is that the offense does need to start to get, again, they don't need to put up many more yards. Like you said, T, they were right there at midfield how many times and had to punt the ball right on the 50-yard line, where if they would have gotten another 15, 18 yards, Tate Sandell can hit a 55-yarder. He's done it 4 times this year.
Right. I just, part of me, listen, I get their kids, they're paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to play a sport. I'm not paid hundreds of thousands to go to a full-time job. They can take me talking bad about them if they're playing bad, which they are. Second, if you're saying they're doing what they're supposed to be doing on offense, that implies that they're doing their job. So it implies that if they need to score a lot of points, they can. They've yet to prove that they can do that. And I'm saying
they're doing everything they need to do, is what he said.
Yeah, they need it. Well, they also need to move the ball whenever they have it, and they consistently don't do that. They need to not put our offense in positions or in our defense in positions where they're getting 3 and outs, getting punts on the 45-yard line, and you're giving them the ball back. In a fourth quarter in which you're leading, and there's 10 minutes and 10 seconds on the clock, you run clock all the way down to a striking 8 minutes and 49 seconds because you go 3 and out 3 straight times. That is not getting the job done. That is being bad on offense, and it is going to get you beat when you play a team that can capitalize on your bad offensive play. That's my only point.
I think the goal of this offense is go down and get 3 points. That's your like worst case scenario. We got 3 points. Worst case scenario, we got inside the 30-yard line and we gave St. Sandel a solid chance to get 3 points because of the defense. And you have to be happy with that if that's how the offense was working. But I think to your guys, both of your guys' point, the offense isn't doing what it needs to do because they're not even getting down there. They're not getting that extra 15 yards to get there to the field goal range.
Yeah, it's like you can just they're not even consistently executing. Like if they were an offense that wasn't good enough to push the ball and like, hey, look, our best offenses aren't going to get very far, but they're going to get you in field goal range. And we're executing, we're hitting our assignments. Mateer's making the throws, our receivers are running routes and catching it, and we just don't have the guys to get. But they're not. Mateer's missing throws, he's missing reads. Whenever we get anyone besides X-Rob in right now, we can't run the ball. And our defense, luckily, is so unbelievably good, we can still win games.
And looking forward, that's what they need to do. As of right now, they're 9-2. They're 9-2. They're one win away from going 10-2. Yeah, I'm making it to the playoffs. USC is letting us down right now. Thanks a lot, Lincoln Riley. You're hurting us just a little bit more. So screw you. But
I wanted to ask you, who's your player of the game? Is it Satania?
Satania. That's mine. I have a hard time.
It's just so hard for me to pick an offensive player, but Satania would be pretty much the only option.
But he was the reason why Oklahoma had enough on offense to do what they needed to do to win. That's my only thing.
And I think you're right because
Heineke was all over the field again.
He was.
I'm going to throw some stats out on just the defense Heineke. Just while you're looking up what you're looking at, Heineke 10 total tackles, 2 solo, 1 tackle for loss. Oklahoma ends the game with 8 tackles for loss and 4 sacks. Dude, and we lead the tackle for loss stat by, I think Indiana is second, and they're 2 behind us at going into the game. And then the difference between us and Indiana in average tackles for loss a game, and shout out to Travis Davidson, I think he made this point, is the same difference between Indiana at number 2 and the number 22nd team in tackles for loss. Like we dominate tackles for loss, which again, maybe this might be one of those weird years where you can continue to do it, play like we are, and it is what it is. But just shout out Heineke again, 10 total tackles. Kip Lewis, 8 tackles, 1 solo, half a sack. Kendall Daniels, 7 tackles. Grayson Halton, 7 tackles. David Stone, 6. A lot of guys coming up. Spears Jennings goes down. RSJ comes back into the game late, so that looks good that he's going to be able to play. Because he had that shoulder injury where it kept popping out.
Or he should have caught that INT.
Yeah.
I think this is before the game. It was Oklahoma with 83 tackles for a loss, Indiana with 66.
That's crazy.
It's a defense that Oklahoma's been able to rely on up to this point. But I do agree with you. I'm not like trying to argue with you, Chad. I agree with you where you're coming from 100%. I agree with you. They need to do better going forward because if they get into the playoff situation, I don't feel comfortable that Oklahoma can win against them. I think they can win against like a Notre Dame if that's the matchup.
Yeah.
I think they can win this way against Notre Dame, but if you're pulling out, I think Ohio State would be in the next round. That would be really hard to win against Ohio State this way. You've got to get something moving on the offense for sure.
Like the way we played, like we're not saying we can't win against anybody right now, but like we're making it a whole lot harder on ourselves than it needs to be. If that makes sense.
For sure.
And that's what's frustrating because I'm going to say it again. You have the players. You have people that can make these plays. It's just not getting done.
Man, we can't waste Satania. I think he's done after this year.
He can come back. Can
he come back? I really hope
he can come back. It was on. I think he will. I think he'll come back. He can come back for one more year.
Burks and Kanek are the only 2.
Burks and Kanek are the only 2 that can't for sure. And Simmons and like some linemen, but in terms of
Kanek sucks, and I feel like today was another one where 2 catches for 24 yards, right? If you have that up in front of you, I feel like he could have had 6 catches for over 100 yards if we would have utilized him. He was open so much in the middle of the field.
If they could get Kanek in the end zone, give him a touchdown, that stadium would like gets so
He
loud.
hasn't had a touchdown at all this year, has he?
No.
No,
That's pathetic. That's really pathetic that you have an offensive weapon that was so
Yep.
hot in the first 3 or 4 games this year, and he just fell off.
Remember, he almost had that one in Michigan. It just Mateer threw it a little too
Yeah.
far over his fingertips.
Just
in
I mean,
the
yeah,
corner
just
on that
right
track
on
ball.
him.
If they get him a touchdown against LSU, the crowd is going. It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, Giovanni Gibson caught a touchdown, his first of the season. That was a perfect read by. That was just how it was designed. Loaded the box up, threw it perfectly. A great route by Gibson on the slant for a touchdown. Kanik 2 for 24 yards.
By the way, Giovanni Gibson. I know it didn't matter because Oklahoma ended up scoring anyways. Giovanni Gibson, that was a catch. That was a catch. His toe touched in bounds.
We couldn't see because it was too far. But
the replay was freezing it right there, and I was like, "Yeah, that's a catch."
Did he have control with the right hand?
I thought he did.
Okay.
And I, like that, I watched that first.
Moment where he was wide open, and why are we sailing it 4 foot?
He was,
for sure.
He was getting pressured there, to be fair.
Yeah.
First thing I looked at was, did he even catch the ball? And it was, as soon as it hit his hand, I would consider that completion. Because what they were saying, like, oh, it bobbles, but he like shifts his whole like hand. I thought it was a catch. I'm probably wrong. I'm probably biased and I'm wrong. So
I feel like
people are going to roast me, but
we're like the opposite right now. Josh is the one saying that was a catch, because normally we're the one saying no, this is a catch, and you're like, nah, I don't think so.
I think it was that play that you had to
this one.
Yeah, you had to keep it how you called it, because it just wasn't so obvious that you could overturn it.
No,
but
I thought it was obvious enough, because his toe, whatever toe that was, I think it was his
left toe,
right,
left toe.
Yeah, it was a left toe.
Yeah,
came down and they froze it there, and I was like, oh, there it is. That was the proof I needed, and that was the only thing that I had questioning, because it did have a slight bobble before he like really got I don't even consider that a bobble. It was more like he kind of had it positioned in his hand right. Anyways, now that was just another one that really, really irritated me. But I understand that it stayed. It was upheld, but in the moment, I was not understanding.
The best way I think I can summarize my feelings about just the team right now. And again, you're coming off a win. I don't want to be a downer. Is I think OU has to win games. OU's games are so matchup dependent, specific, in that when you look at like the reason why I think, like you said, I think Notre Dame, we can beat them, but why? They rely on running. They're a right. I can't even think of his name. Golly, I'm blanking. Bryce Love. Jeremiah Love.
Jeremiah Love. Yeah.
Old Stanford running back.
Yeah, Stanford player.
So I think they can beat them. You look at Mizzou today, very run-heavy team. You look at but again, you go to Tennessee and you win, but that's because your offense gives you a whole, a touchdown, or your defense scores a touchdown.
Yeah.
They have, and you look at last week at Bama, your defense scores a touchdown. And again, I love how good Tate Sandel's been. I still, as a rule, hate relying on kickers to make 55-yard field goals consistently. But he has beat them. And I love when they make them. I hate relying on it. There's a reason why, Brendan Aubrey's about the only guy. Maybe he's the next Brendan Aubrey, which would be awesome. That'd be great. He's unbelievable. But I think that's how I feel. In which I would love for us to go and we could win games in multiple ways. To your point, like, we're not that team, and maybe we don't need to be. And listen, we're all OU fans. I would love, if I'm wrong about that, you ain't gonna catch me upset. I'll be happy as a fan, dude.
I agree with you.
And I will talk so much crap to everybody. I will take all of it.
I agree with you with the bracket that we're sitting in right now, that we do need to see Oklahoma be able to find some rhythm and consistency to get into, I would say that inside the 35-yard line is where you're comfortable. Like, just get inside there, and I'm okay with settling for a field goal if that's what you're doing consistently. And so, yeah, I agree with you 100%. And I like seeing the 55-yarders, but we could probably cut back on them a little bit.
And I know you got in-laws and stuff, so I don't want to try to keep you over too long. I had a couple questions just for y'all. Would you rather? I got to ask you about these like conference championship games, because I almost don't want to play in them anymore.
I don't
care if I'm an SEC. This sounds terrible. If I'm in the playoffs, I don't care being the SEC champion.
If I'm a one-loss team, I'll play in it, because I don't care if I lose. I'm still probably in.
But why risk injury though?
If I'm a 2-loss team, yeah, I agree with that. I'm okay with playing in it, because it's like you don't really have to go out there and give it your all. It's like, hey, let's try to win this game, but let's just be smart.
Yeah.
if you're like a 2-loss team and you're playing in the championship game, I'm kind of nervous about it anymore because you might. We don't have a big enough sample size for me to know for sure, but the committee might not put you in if you're sitting there at 3 losses now. They might put a stinking G5 team above you now because they just get an auto bid. I don't ultimately, no, I don't like conference championship games at all. I think you just go back to the way that the Big 12 did it with no conference championship game and award the top dog.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I got to give a shout out to my father-in-law who made this point. I think whenever the playoff was expanded, he was like, look, you just get away with conference championship games. Add a conference game, get away with the conference championship game because you're going to play a team in which gets 3 weeks of rest and you're coming off getting beat up in a conference championship game where maybe you guys got injured or rolled up on. And you're going to be playing a team that's rested and got to take weeks off and not get their bodies banged up and stuff. But also, I think that final note on the offense, and again, it was texted by my father-in-law again. Shout out Chuck. I think they do need to find like the happy medium between being safe with the ball and also aggressive enough to want to be dynamic enough to score and to make it be seen as a threat. And that's where you got to live. Because it's one of those things like the old adage of the guy that airballed a free throw because he was short on the free throw, right? And it's the story of he then threw it and he was like breaking the backboard, but he's like, I'll never be short on a free throw again. It's like, yeah, but you're never going to make it either. So I mean, you kind of find happy medium there. And
I'm
hoping they do.
Yeah, and I don't want to rely on the offense to have to. I don't want to rely on the offense being this way. But here in the last 3 games, the reason why I'm kind of content with the offense is because when you need it, they go and score. John Mateer, 20-yard touchdown against Alabama. He had let's see, Xavier Robinson had the touchdown against Tennessee, right? No, it wasn't him. Who got the first touchdown? There was John Mateer had the rushing touchdown. Who was the first touchdown there against Tennessee?
In Tennessee, oh my gosh, who was the first touchdown?
Was that X Rob? I'm kind of drawing a blank. I feel like it was. I thought it was a passing touchdown, but I might be wrong. I'm gonna have to pull it up now. Maybe somebody's got it.
I'm trying to see why this Arkansas game isn't pulling up for me. But.
No, but I just think that there's certain times when you see the team. Yeah, it was Xavier Robinson, by the way.
Good job.
He had a big day that day. So, the offense comes up big when they really need it. Against Michigan, I think they did the same thing where they needed the momentum to swing back in their direction. They came up big. And then like the close to 9-minute drive there towards the end, that was another one where it's like, I think.
Well, and even today, like to be fair to you, like, what did Mateer do on that 3rd and long and towards the end of the game? He has a big rush for a first down and makes them use more time. And now, so they have been to be, and even like you're saying at Alabama, like they scored, and then he has the big where he like jucks the guy and then throws a strike to Satane at the sideline for a first down. Like,
and I don't want to rely on the offense. I don't want to rely on the offense to be that like, just go and get that one drive when we need it the most. And again, another part of that went with the offense is that the defense sets them up for those situations a lot. And so you kind of. Lately, it's been leaning and relying on the turnovers. So Oklahoma, I forget what they were up to the Tennessee game, but they were negative in the turnover margin up to Tennessee. They're now
they were negative
plus 6 in the last 3 games because they're 3 to 2.
Interception.
They were 3 to 2, 3 to 0, and 2 to 0.
Oh yeah, the RMT. Well, first offense.
So is that 6? Yeah, that's plus 6 now in the last 3 games in November. That's something that's a championship defense. I agree with you though. Just trying to find some rhythm there going forward. But that's pretty much all I had for tonight though. You have anything else?
No, I think at the end of the day you win. And the defense is just it is nice to say it's as good as we all hoped it would be. Probably better than any of us really expected it to be. They are extremely good.
As long as you don't get blown. So for 2 things, as long as you win LSU because you have no business even being close in that game, and as long as you don't get blown out in the bowl game, this was an extremely successful year for Oklahoma, right?
And they're going to be really good next year. They're going to be a problem next year because they get a lot of people back.
So much
almost
better.
Get everybody.
You have You have an
These are gonna be
established
crazy.
offensive scheme with coaches like Coach K and Ben Arbuckle and Kevin Wilson that have a relationship and a role on this team, a cemented role on this team now, because Kevin Wilson stepped in November. Kevin Wilson is who to thank for in November. Without Kevin Wilson, this team is not sitting here 3-0 in November. And so I think he deserves a lot more praise than what he's probably going to get. So yeah, that's a guy that everyone needs to send Kevin Wilson a little bit of a thank you card for showing up for the team and really being vocal.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I mean, as long as Oklahoma just is respectable in the playoff game, I don't think you can really be upset about this season. Because I mean, I don't want that to be the expectation. So don't get me.
I know what you mean. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I know you do,
yeah.
but
yeah,
I'm just
he's not saying
that
you can lose the game. He still thinks you should win it. He's just saying like
you should. And against Notre Dame, I think Oklahoma is a better team. You should win.
Beat Notre Dame.
And so I was talking about this on Tuesday, where I sat here and I was like, you know what? Like, we're sitting here. I was on the live stream and looking over to my left at the TV in the hotel room and watching the college football playoff rankings come on. So I think you think of that and you look at where we were after the Texas loss, where everyone was freaking out, and I said, guys, I get it, I understand, calm down, but like, what if Oklahoma wins out or at least just makes it 10-2? You're talking about the playoffs. That's still on the table. I know we don't have confidence in that, but that's still on the table. And then Ole Miss loss. All right, I understand why the confidence is in the dumps, but don't freak out just yet. Don't sit here and scream fire all these coaches just yet, because why would you do that when you're a winning team? The playoffs are still within reach, and it's not out of the realm of possibility.
You bookmarked your own tweets, because you did tweet that and you got roasted.
Yeah.
Please tell me you
I got roasted on here, and I got roasted on X. So it's incredible to be sitting at this part in the year where we're hopeful for not just making the playoffs, but hosting the first round of the playoffs. That's incredible to me.
I 100% agree. One more way, man, in a game that they should win. You're 100% right. Going to be awesome to see LSU in the stadium too. Yellow helmets. It's going to be sick. I think it's going to be awesome. All right, Josh, you want to sign us off?
Absolutely. Well, everybody who was tuning in, over 600 total viewers. If you were watching anywhere other than YouTube, jump over to YouTube real quick, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. That is the best and just free and easy way to help us support the channel over here at Oklahoma, the voice of college football. I'm Josh Mahler. This is Chad and Tierney Smith, the Sooner Smiths. We are giving you guys shows live on Sundays, Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and post-game Saturdays. Just pumping out content for you guys. So if you want to help support the channel just a little bit further, become a member for as low as $2.99 a month. If you order a coffee in the mornings, you can afford to give some of that coffee money over here, because I need coffee in the morning too, but I can't do it if you're not going to sign up and become a member.
And to be fair, it helps us with production stuff too. Like
well, and T's pregnant. Do it for that.
Oh yeah. Let's smoke our
yeah. There we go. We got a new Sooner boy coming. He's going to be a Sooner Smith number 3. We're going to have a separate podcast for him.
Zeno's working hard for his treats too.
Exactly. Plus, we got Zeno, the host that doesn't get nearly enough love. Also, you can check out the Voice of College Football shop at vocfb.com/shop. That's a great way to help support us over here. You can check out all the Oklahoma gear that we've got. We got Zeno on the shirts and all that. Maybe we'll have to get Sooner Smith number 3 on the shirt somehow.
That'd be awesome.
But anyways, we appreciate you all so much for tuning in. We'll catch you next time. The Sooners are on their way to 10-2 and looking at a playoff berth. Boomer.
Sooner.